All right, Chris, back again with another God of War video. And in the last one, we went through the introduction. We were introduced to our dynamic duo, Kratos and Atreus. So we went through the introduction, we fought a few Draugr, we came across our first troll and felled him, and then we returned home, and that's where I left off. So, that being said, let's continue on and just see where the game takes us. Yeah, the more I play this game, the more I'm looking forward to God of War Ragnarok. It's going to be quite a game. So I like the use of shadows here, and it looks like Atreus is just waiting by his bed there. Kind of a little upset about things.
You lost control.
That thing was trying to kill us. It's not like you don't get angry in a fight.
Anger can be a weapon. If you
Yeah,
control
one thing I
it,
really enjoy
use
about
it.
this game is seeing
clearly cannot.
Kratos' parenting style.
I haven't been sick in a long
He has
time.
quite a bit of experience
I'm
with
better now.
anger and sees the telltale signs within his own
Fine.
son. So he knows that he really has to do as much as he
Come on,
can
then.
to temper that.
You want me to hit you?
I want you to try.
In many ways, this reminds me of when I was a kid. This seems to be a fairly common thing that
Try
dads
again.
do, just holding up the hands, and sometimes they'll let you
Why are
just
you doing
unload
too
on their
slow?
palms because you're a
Try
kid and
again.
it doesn't
Cut it out!
affect them at all.
Again.
Other times they'll show that
Again.
Stop it!
Again.
even though kids think they're pretty tough, just they're not nearly as quick as an adult.
Your
But
anger.
they have plenty of time
You
to
can
grow
get
into
lost
that.
in it. The path ahead is difficult.
Kratos offers some
And
good
you,
advice here.
Atreus, are
And one
clearly
thing that
not
you really
ready.
notice is a lot of the meaning behind the dialogue.
What was that?
That Kratos seems to be offering advice to Atreus, but it could equally apply to himself as well. So I think in many ways, he's sort of working these things out in his own mind too.
It's no use hiding anymore. I know who you are.
What's going on? Do you know him?
More importantly, I know what you are.
Boy, beneath the floor. Now.
But you told me never to go down there. Who is that?
I do not know.
What's he talking about?
I do not know. Get in.
It goes to show how far Kratos will go to keep his past hidden.
Just tell me what
And he
I
thinks
want
that
to
all
know.
of this refers
No need
to
for this to
his own
get
past
bloody.
catching up to him. One of the great things about this dialogue is that in the beginning of the game, you think he's specifically referring to Kratos, that all of this is revolving around him. But as the game progresses, you realize that even though you're focusing on these two characters, the world continues on without them. And a lot of the dialogue here really, it could apply to Kratos or it could apply to what we learn in the future, but
Whatever
the
it is you
stranger
seek, I
is
do not
just
have it.
vague enough to keep you thinking
You should move
it's
on.
about one specific thing until you go back and replay the game
Here I thought you
and start realizing that
supposed to be so enlightened.
he had a
so
different
much
objective all
better
along.
than us, so much smarter. And yet you hide out here in the woods like a coward.
Yeah, he's really trying to get under
want
Kratos'
this fight.
skin, and Kratos is trying really hard not to rise to the bait
I'm
like he
pretty
would
sure
back in
I do.
the previous games, but see, that would have set him off right away. But over the years, he's learned to curb his anger.
My home.
You are going to have to kill me for that to happen.
But even Kratos can only take so much. And just,
I warned you.
I love that catching of the fist,
Finally.
and then just unloads on him.
You would not listen.
And you believe at first that the stranger is thinking that he might have bit off more than he could chew, but not the case.
My turn.
Just an absolute moment of surprise here. Wasn't expecting that at all, were you, Kratos? And then we enter our first real boss battle. The troll doesn't count so much. Yeah, it's a difficult enemy,
Come on,
but
then.
This one you actually find just how different boss fights really can be in this game. And you have to be really careful with the blocks. But since the Stranger is sort of a light unit,
You bore me.
you can actually knock him up with the axe and kind of keep him airborne. But you do still have to avoid several of the attacks. And if you time it right, then you can really use the parry a lot better. Okay. Yeah, the timing for the blocks is really important. If you do it just too early, then what you'll get is the one where he kind of leaves his fist on the shield and you throw him back. If you time it right, then the parry works out good, and you can get a few good hits in, like here. And there we go. We've reached the end of phase 1. But the Stranger's not so dumb. I like here how just looking into the house for a brief second, he sees that Kratos might not be the one that he's looking for.
Why are there 2 beds in
But Kratos is not going to give him time to really question anything or put it together. Just starts unloading on him.
Leave my
A great part. But the Stranger won't be deterred so easily. It's amazing how brutal this fight is. The game starts off fairly slowly, and then their battle ends up destroying the entire landscape around them.
Who are you hiding? Slow and old. You should never have come to me.
And this is actually the first time you learn really where you are.
So,
And it looks like
Let's try
Kratos, just
again.
watching him, actually
You talk
starts
too
developing the technique that he just used there to heal himself in his own mind. They just tear apart rocks like they're paper.
you won't talk? Fine. Maybe whoever it is you've got stashed in that house.
And this is where we finally see the Spartan Rage. So this rage, the meter outside of this event, it usually drains really quickly, but every hit restores a bit of health, and it's just something to keep in mind.
Who are you afraid I'll find? Let's find out.
But what I like doing is locking onto the Stranger here, because it's easy to lose track of him, and you want to get as much damage in as you can. But yeah, the health is already back up to full, and at a certain point I think the Spartan Rage starts draining. So you can already see that it's starting to go down now. So we've gotten about 2 bars down, and yeah.
Bore me. What are you hiding?
Just barely missed that dodge.
You are a fool.
Yeah, it's good to keep him fairly airborne so he can't counter as easily. There we go. Phase 2 is defeated. And this part's brutal, just that kick right to the head, right into that stone behind him, and just smashing his skull against it, and then show that how brutal Kratos is. That final punch, just seeing the stone cape behind the stranger's head there, it's brutal. And then just a massive rock right on top of him. And the destruction that follows is something. Man, Kratos is nothing if not destructive. But as you're walking back, you see it's not quite over yet. Imagine the strength that it's got to take for the, like, Kratos is clearly not the only one that's supernaturally strong. Stranger is too. I mean, that rock alone must have weighed thousands of pounds. But then you can see their show of strength here is just decimating the landscape. So much damage. Just the show of strength here causing a chasm.
That old body will give out. But before I end this, I want you to know one thing. I can't feel any of this.
Yeah, anybody that's slightly familiar with the mythology, I mean, you probably put it together pretty quick. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers before they get there, but it's taking place in Midgard, and you have the guy that can't feel anything, so I think if you follow mythology at all, you can sort of piece together who the stranger is. But it's interesting. I think the writers of these, both the God of War early series and then this one, they inject just enough this like accurate mythology to follow the story, but they changed it up with a little bit of pizzazz. But Kratos here has already adopted his ability to heal himself.
And if you'd given me what I wanted, it wouldn't have ended this way. But no.
All right, here we go. Final phase.
Let's finish this. Can't beat me.
So keep throwing him off balance if you can. And then he has a few new abilities. Anytime that he jumps, you have to essentially relock onto him if that's your playstyle.
I feel nothing.
Dodge. You can actually interrupt that. The thing, the ground stomp that he pulls there. But a lot of times it's not really worth it. And there we go. That's Baldur done on Give Me a Challenge difficulty. Wasn't really that difficult. And you can see that Kratos is now, knowing that they are pretty matched in strength, is now using his size and a different fighting technique to finish him off.
That you, of everyone I faced, would finally make me feel something, but you can't.
And boy, is that neck snap ever brutal. The sound for this game really is something. Just brutal. And then Kratos gets up and And it's interesting as he's walking back, he actually has developed that healing technique almost automatically. So in the beginning, he's covered in bruises and cuts and his own blood, but you can see that it's somewhat starting to fade already.
My past.
And he still thinks it's all about his past, which the dialogue really makes you think that. But as he's
Hey, what do I do?
unsure of what to do, the axe comes to his side.
Is not ready to carry your ashes to the top of the mountain.
It's almost like his spiritual guide in a way. Yeah, you can see that all the blood is already starting to fade, so he's not really even having to concentrate at this point. It seems to be a manual or an automatic
I do not know
thing with
how
him now.
to do this without you.
Okay.
But we cannot stay here.
Yeah. And this is where you see the detail put into this game that if you look closely at the cellar here, in the bottom right corner, you can see a little bit of red cloth.
There
That
was so
comes
much.
into play later in the game,
I thought.
and everybody that's actually played through knows what's in
All
there.
right.
I am all right. Come. Gather your things.
Just a really good
We're
game.
leaving.
Kratos knows that he's not really ready
I wasn't
to
ready.
take on this role of fatherhood.
You're not.
Not as much as he should be,
We
but
have no choice now.
at this point, he has no choice, like he says there. So much of what he says, just it applies to both him and Atreus.
Me wrong.
Yes, sir.
Atreus is ready to take it on and learn. And there we go. The two of them finally set out on their journey, and it's going to be a long time before you can return here,
The mountain.
but that's fine.
It's gonna be a long trip.
Yes, it is.
Yes, but an important one.
Whoa. How did this happen?
I like how he makes the comment here that all the destruction here isn't really going unnoticed. But I think that's where I'm going to call this video. We went through, met the stranger who becomes pretty important throughout this game, and now it's time for the two of them to set off on their journey, and I'll be continuing this pretty soon. But I think that's a good end for this video. It's a long fight. It's a pretty epic one, and all right, so like, share, and subscribe. I'll have the next one up pretty soon, and I just want to get this game finished before God of War Ragnarok comes out, and I plan on streaming that one as soon as it's released. So until then, just enjoy this one for now. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys soon.